Grand for 93, played by the Tonic. Sounds of the Cool FM, 94.5 on the dial, 0860 395 262. Going out to all those sunshine ladies. X amount of respect. And remember who's the originator for that.
The late 90s. The music, the people, the UK underground sound was darker. And the bass lines were deeper. Technique. The sounds of UK jungle were changing. But let's rewind back in history.
Welcome to the early show.
There's a high-flying bird way up in the sky.
In the mid-60s, a guy called Ronan O'Reilly wanted to beat competition with the commercial radio stations, setting up a transmitter on a ship off the coast of Essex playing mainstream music, reaching an audience of millions illegally. This led to more boats taking the seas and setting up aerial transmitters to do the same, given the term pirate radio. But it was during the late 80s where this truly kicked off. Commercial radio stations and TV would not even dare touch the underground sounds. This forced new pirate radio stations to pop up in urban areas in the UK, stations such as Sunrise, Centre Force and Fantasy FM, to play the latest acid house tracks. Pirate radio stations always competed for being the champion radio and to get the best transmission signal. This would be from high towers, council estate rooftops. Radio stations controlled the manor, they controlled the block. As the music changed, so did the pirate radio stations.
We could be a mic chanter. So this is cigarette free for the sense I mean, yeah. So Cool FM, we not crack dealers. Me God, me King, it is Jehovah. It inspire me to be a mic chanter.
However, one thing we must keep in mind, the process of setting up an unlicensed broadcast station is illegal, thus having serious consequences with British law.
Up on sort of London's skyline, and it's an ideal place if you were so motivated to have your own radio station, but we are not going to let people do that in our residential property.
Residents of these states would usually report to authorities due to either loud music within the premises or interference with their preferred commercial radio stations. So the runners of pirate radio would frequently change locations in avoidance of being caught by police. Police allegedly report illegal radio stations that have been linked to finding drugs and uncovering unlicensed firearms.
Drugs, and that drugs dealers are prepared to pay quite a lot of money to get their adverts on these commercial radio stations. So the threat is being taken very seriously.
Like a siege or something. Yeah, it was like a big siege. They lit up all the place, the light and that, just to track 2 gigs on the roof. Like 3 hours. Yeah, 3 hours. Yeah.
So why are pirate radio stations important, and how do they help DJs and artists? You need to understand that without pirate radio stations, local businesses such as the record stores wouldn't be thriving as it did at the time. UK underground music was in high demand in correlation to the commercial tracks. Record stores enabled the opportunity for their customers and listeners of a local pirate radio station to meet face to face with their local pirate DJs.
Radio stations, very, 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 very important. They played the tune on dub plate, the DJs played it out in the clubs, and then we'd get it on promo.
You'd want to go to Black Market, you want to go to Music Power, you want to go to Unity, you want to go to Wire for Sound because you wanted to get the freshest tunes before anyone else.
Within pirate radio, British MC culture was vital. As we know, the junglist scene incorporated the Jamaican influences of toasting, the rhyming over rhythms and amping up the crowds, later created MCs. Thus were a vital part of communications to the pirate listeners. With no visuals or video uploads, MCs got their respect and recognition due to their lyrical flow, recognisable ad-libs and voices. Rave promoters paid the pirate stations for MCs to give on-air promotions and other business relations. Pirate radio was such a crucial element in the UK underground music scene, and without it, the culture of British urban music wouldn't be where it is today. what was wrong with jungle? That jungle sound that was popular all around the UK was starting to die out. The ecstasy days was fading and new substances were being brought into the scene.
About 96, 97, everyone was trying to make jungle tunes, and the formula had become tired by then. It had lost its essence.
There was a lot of trouble started happening in UK raves, which was nothing to do with class. That was to do with drugs, you know. 88, 89, 90, everyone's taking ecstasy and they're all loving each other. By 1996, they're all fucking taking cocaine and champagne. It's a recipe for disaster.
This combination caused worse attention to the jungle scene and reputation. People headed to these raves causing disruption and violence to other ravers. Unfortunately, artists, producers and people wanted to separate themselves from jungle. Producers started to remove the raga, reggae and Jamaican influences, but keeping the bass and aim and break elements, giving that dark tonal atmosphere, which similarly represented the dark times of the UK scene, given the term drum and bass. DJs, producers and MCs from the jungle era was moving into the newly cool drum and bass, such as DJ Hype, Andy C, LTJ Bookham and many more. Tracks with heavy moving bass lines and breakbeats were considered rollers. However, after time, producers started to remove breaks and incorporate a style known as steppers. Formerly, a two-step beat which was more syncopated with a non-moving bass line, giving its distinctive style pioneering new waves. However, to this day, these two distinctions are always subjective to opinion. From all the negative associations of violence from the UK underground raves, it was thought at the time that drum and bass would always stay underground. Clifford Price, aka Goldie, was such an important part in the jungle and drum and bass movement. Goldie put out an album, Timeless, reaching number 7 in the charts. This brought the DnB back to the attention of the media and new audiences. People that associated the old school reggae raga dub sounds in jungle had been dismissed of the genre due to its negative reputation, thus not wanting to be involved, but was suddenly paying attention to the scene again. The reason why Timeless and Goldie is so iconic is the fact that Goldie didn't change or try to imitate and cater to the commercial scenes. He kept the original underground sounds. Inner city life was playing everywhere, in shops, TV, adverts, commercial radio, the lot. Goldie was an icon. His raw personality and artistic talent made him into a star, receiving critical acclaim for it. From his tough past, for being raised in childcare and foster homes, he proved and gave hope that someone could break through, gain triumph from the UK underground scene and become successful. His success allowed him to cross paths and rub shoulders with big name celebrities such as Oasis, Björk, David Bowie and many more, opening opportunities for future movies.
Bowie at Pine. Yeah, David Bowie was sitting on the floor, like nodding his head like he was vibes out. And I was like, that's David Bowie.
And like that, living like a rock star. Following Goldie, other drum and bass artists started to be winning awards such as Bristol legend Ronnie Size. The popularity of the scene even made it through into the gaming world, and having the culture of drum and bass pirate radio in one of the most iconic gaming series, Grand Theft Auto 3 and Liberty City Stories.
Time soldiers in the airwaves. I will warm it now. Yeah. MSX 98 FM. Yeah. We're moving from the shadows, London to Liberty. I transmit across the airwaves and hijack the whole city. Millennium cut, buggers can be moving by a trace. Code break and blast the vocals, time code supply the bass. If you need.
So what makes DnB special, and how has this inspired future generations? The first time ravers of the mid to late 90s would have entered club venues, and the dark sounds of drum and bass would be the first things blasting onto their faces. Not only that, thanks to Goldie and other big DnB producers, there is no surprise that further in time, new DJs and producers will emerge inspired by this scene. The basic concept of drum and bass, it really is what it is, just drums and bass. Its heavy bass lines and fast pace is no surprise that this genre would automatically create a reaction to hype up the crowds. Furthermore, the genre has evolved, creating many more subgenres, subs such as jump up, Neurofunk, Liquid, and many more. Drum and bass has been such an important genre and is played at festivals and raves all around the globe. Not only that, the genre opened up the exposure and diversity of producers all over the world. Artists such as Makoto from Japan, Spy from Brazil, N9 from Russia, and Netsky from Belgium, with many more becoming international big names in the scene. The genre has become a commercial front, more prominent than before. It is amazing to see drum and bass being played on international main festival stages. However, we must not forget where this all started. Labels from the time such as Ram Records from the legend Andy C, Metalheads, Hospitality Records from London Electricity, the Players label, and many more run until this day. Furthermore, we should not forget the UK drum and bass MCs, rooted from the junglist era. Legends still going strong such as X-Men, Skibbity, Shabady, GQ, MC Det, and many more.
And they do what they think to meet her. When she's squeezing in the two-seater. Shabba, not Michael. Get him a screen for the rifle. Fill him up like Skibber. Hunger, we don't mean no blunder. When it comes to this jungle, it's the gold thing I take you under. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got your number. I'm big in the game and know my name. Yeah. Bust up your G. For the girl, I'm in the back to back, rat-tat-tat. Up your bumper. I've got that G under my bumper.
But we must also remember the legends that are not with us anymore, leaving a legacy such as Tenafly, Stormin, and Hyper D, influencing and inspiring a new generation of MCs onto the scene. And we should not forget the DnB DJs and producers that are also not with us. Everyone, all of them involved, influencing and inspiring a new generation of MCs and producers onto the scene. And without them, from the efforts of jungle drum and bass pirate radio stations, MCs and DnB producers, we wouldn't have this scene influencing the musical world that we have today. Next time on That UK Sound, the drum and bass scene had its own respect in the UK by the late 90s. Alongside drum and bass events, a unique sound and style has been introduced into the scene. Hats, hoodies and trainers was replaced with loafers, suits and champagne. And up north, the Midlands started to bring their own take onto the sound, creating their own unique bass and style. This is the sound of UK garage and bassline.